But yesteryears, we would be in a hurry because we knew we had to get there when it was time to eat. Because everybody ate at the same time. You know, you come in at this time and that time. But now we have got all of this technology and we still don't have time to do the things that we need to do. Solomon asked God, he says, show unto thy servant, thou hast showed unto thy servant David, my father, great mercy, according as he walked before thee in what? Truth, and in righteousness, and in what? Uprightness of heart. That's a key right there. Now remember that word, heart. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him as son to sit on his throne as it is this day. Now Solomon didn't think it was a place that he deserved. He understood that it was a great kindness from God. How many of us are in positions in the church and we think that I'm supposed to be there? I'm supposed to be the head usher. I'm supposed to be the head deacon. I'm supposed to be the head choir person. Now, here Solomon recognized that whatever position that he was in, it was a kindness of God. And so he says, and now in verse 7, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of my father David. And I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. Humble. And so he says, and thy servant is in the midst of thy people. Now, that's another thing that we must recognize in our ministry, in our service to the church. We understand that we are not serving ourselves. We are serving the people of God. And we want to throw this out too. Sometimes we hear people say, touch not my anointed and do my prophet. No, we think that that's talking about the prophet or the preacher. It's the people. My anointed is the people. And so when we bother God's people, we are what? We bother Him. Even as humans, when you bother my child, when you bother
They will be escorted by Minister Doug Phillip and Miss Phillip. Amen. 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 of God.
That's good. Light change. We have someone else.
Amen.
We have our pastor's wife.
Amen.
Good morning to everybody. My name is Lydia Taylor, and I am quite pleased to be here this morning. I was Again, I'm quite pleased to be here this morning. I was just given the opportunity, if you would, and the task of presenting the speaker for this morning. Our speaker, I know a whole lot about him. And you know, I don't often get an opportunity to get up and publicly speak about him. So you think I ought to take this opportunity and well, in the interest of time, I know him very well. We traveled here together over the last day or so, and you know, even while he was in the car with me, and I'm going someplace with this, he was, when we were in Sunday school, they were talking about your wife talking to you. Yeah. Well, he was listening, but he was studying. He's a very studious man, and he is a student of the Bible. So he often has individuals call him, other pastors, and they ask him, you know, where do you find this and where do you find that in the Bible? And he readily can tell them that. He loves to preach, you know, and as I said, I know him very well, and he's preached some of his best sermons in our home. He loves to preach. He is a child of God. He's a child of the Most High King. He is a giving man. He's a precious man. And I would like for you this morning to elevate your right hand as a token of respect for the angel of the church at Union Grove Missionary Baptist Church at 4100 Highland Avenue, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Reverend Glenn P. Taylor. Thank you.
Let me leave you with a little story. There was a man that found himself in the military. He was going off to war, and so while in the service, he and another fella became good friends. This first fellow was from a poor family, but the second fellow was from a rich family. The fellow that came from the poor family didn't have anything. He was just in the military doing the best he could. The guy from the rich family didn't need to go, but he voluntarily went into the service. And so they became good friends. And one day on the battlefield, the bullets began flying, and the one that was from the poor family ended up wounded. And when he was wounded, the one from the rich family jumped on top of him and began to cover his body. Bullets continued to fly. After a day or so, when the battle had ceased and no more fighting was being done, they began to go through the field to try to find all the wounded. And lo and behold, the man that was rich, that had gotten on top of the other man, his body was filled with bullets, and he was dead. And as they got ready to pass over, the one underneath, they heard his groan, and they pulled the first one up from on top of the other, and the poor man found he was still alive. And so a few years later, after he was out of the service, he found the family of that young man that had saved his life. He decided he would go by and pay them a visit, and he went to the house, and when he got to the house, there was a long driveway, well manicured yard, a lot of great shrubbery and flowers were everywhere, and he saw somebody dressed up in a butler's uniform. He went to the door. It was a big double door. And when they opened up, he walked into the hall. There was a marble floor. He looked on the walls. He saw paintings by Picasso and Michelangelo. He saw great artwork all throughout the house. He saw great furniture. And so when the family came, he said, listen, I need to tell you how your son died. I know you got the report that he died, but he died saving my life. It wasn't long that the parents also died. They had no other children, so they put everything up for auction. And when I got to the auction, the young man had given the parents a charcoal drawing because that's all he had, a charcoal drawing of their son in order to remember him by. And so it was that charcoal drawing had been hung in the house alongside of the Michelangelo, alongside of the Picasso. And when they came and got ready to do the auction, people began to look in the auction book, and as they opened it up, they saw the cars. They had a Benz and a Rolls and a Bentley. They had all kinds of luxurious cars, and they began to price everything. They priced the artwork, and so the auctioneer said, we're going to start the bidding with a charcoal drawing. And the people said, what? Who did the drawing? Was it anybody famous? And the auctioneer said, there's no name on it. That meant it wasn't very valuable. And so people said, put that aside because we want to bid on the cars. We want to bid on the furniture. We want to bid on the artwork. Let us bid on the other stuff. But the auctioneer said, I had written rules that I have to go by, and the wishes of the family is that I start with the charcoal drawing. The young man that had done the drawing stood in the back trying to see who would get the drawing, and nobody would bid on the drawing. And so finally, the young man said, I bid $20. The auctioneer said $20 on the drawing, 20 once, 20 twice. And the people say, let them have it so we can bid on everything else. And so finally the auctioneer said, sold to the young man in the back. When the young man went to pick up the drawing that he had made, the auctioneer closed up his book and began to walk off stage. And they said, wait a minute, what's wrong with you? We need to bid on the rest of the stuff. I want to bid on the Michelangelo. I want to bid on the Benz and the Bentley. I want to bid on the Picasso. I want to bid on the Van Gogh. But the auctioneer said my instructions was whoever got the son would get everything. Good day, warriors. So glad I got the son. And since I have the son, I have everything.